starting out like that. 306 Helen. That's where it started.
You might need to roll the window down if you don't want the glare. There you go. I want to see how far this ride was, because being back then, it felt like forever.
The Greenshadow.
59.4 miles. Hello. Here we go on our journey.
Here we go.
Okay. It was harder times than 29 back then. I was 17 years old. I had you. And it was just hard. We didn't have any money, and your daddy was acting silly. And so we just tried to make it the best we could. I had a bike. I put a baby seat on the back. And that was our car. We used to ride it, and go see Brandy and Linda, and then ride back, and then I'd ride up to Cafe Superette and work, 3 to 11. I got pulled over one time on Center Street because I didn't have a light on my bike. So I had to go the next day and buy a flashlight, and I duct taped it on the bike so I wouldn't get pulled over the next night. And then when I finally got another job, I saved up enough money and bought my first car, and it was $50. And it was a 65 Chevy, black. And it had been in a wreck, but it still worked. But you couldn't go in the driver's side. You had to climb in through the window on the passenger side. And I had to make payments on it over in Clear Lake. I got that paid off. Well, I paid $10 down, and I made payments for $10 every time I got paid till I paid it off. It was so silly because it was so wrecked and so yucky, but I would wash it and shine it up like it was a Cadillac. And then one time we was coming down Pasadena Boulevard in it, and the whole engine just blew up. And so I got your baby seat out of it, and walked over to the Dairy Queen, and I saw the wrecker come get it. And they were kind of looking around, but I didn't go out there because I didn't have enough money to get it out of hot. Just let them drag it off, and I never checked into it or nothing. I just let it go. So it was back on the bike again. The car, the bike. And then at some point, I saved up enough, and I got a old white Buick, the Sabre, and it was running good. We used to take it all over, and we were coming back from over in North Houston, over the big bridge, and me and you and Jerry were back there joyriding and finger popping, and we had the music cranked. Well, I didn't know that it was in, first gear, and it blew up on the big bridge. So then I got you, and me and Jerry walked to the next. There was a gas station probably about a half a mile away from the big bridge, and we walked over there, and it was in a bad part of town. So the lady said, I said, can we use your phone? I'm going to call my mom, come pick the car up, pick us up. And she said, yeah, but I was fixing to close, but I'm going to stay open so y'all can stay inside. That's how bad it was. Yeah. She wouldn't even let us wait outside. That's how bad it was. So I don't know who came and got us. It probably was Richard. And by the time we got back over to Mama's house, which was probably 20 minutes away, and called a wrecker, and they went out there to that car, somebody stole all 4 tires off of it. And they did check the car, and what it was is it had thrown a rod because we had it in first gear instead of drive on the big bridge. But it was hard times because I used to work 2 and 3 jobs just to make it. Harder times than 29. Couldn't get a job, didn't finish school, had a baby, didn't have a car. Nobody would give you a chance. You knew you could do the job if they give you a chance and show you, but none of them would give you a chance. Everybody wanted you to either have schooling behind you or, nobody to give you a chance to show that you could do it. So it was just hard like that. You'd go around and sometimes I needed a job so bad I wouldn't come home that day till I got a job. But you could get a job, but they just weren't that great. I mean, they were minimum wage. You know, and I had several, a couple times when I went to apply for a job, I almost got sexually molested. And I, oh, you want a job? Trying to act all and trying to, like, take advantage of you because they knew, you were hard up. You needed a job, you needed the money, but I didn't go there, thank God. I didn't want to, but that's how it was. People take advantage of you. You're young, you're dumb, you don't know, and trying to make it. That's how it was. And we had that apartment that time. That was after the first car blew up. And I had that bike and I rode Jack in the Box. And that lady across the way kept care of you. Her husband was in prison. And she watched you during the day while I went to work. But she was nice. She was just trying to hang on until he got out of jail. But it was just hard times back then. If you didn't have an education and you were young like that, that's why I've told many of your friends, I want a baby. Like 16, 17 years old, I'm like, no, do not do that. It's just too hard. You can't make it. You got to kind of get it together before you have a baby. Make it easier on yourself and the baby. And if it wouldn't have been for Grandma and Grandpa, I don't think I could have kept you because I couldn't pay for everything. I couldn't, I was always working, and then, I was also partying some back then, and it was just all hard. Mm-hmm. That's the way it was back then, but I'm thankful that it's good now. After I went to college, everything turned out better. You were 10 then. Yep. But it was hard before that, that's for sure. Yep. But we made it. Yeah. Kind of a little scuffed up and rough around the edges, but we made it.
Harder times in 29.
Harder times in 29. And it was, too. Believe me. Whew. You didn't have no money. But I think that's pretty remarkable that, that I could go out and go to work, even though I was, I was 18 and nothing going for me, but I always had a job, Wasn't much, but I had a job, so, and then to build up from that, it just seems like hard. If you work hard, it'll get better. Might take a while, but it will. Well, that's what happened.